Yeah, what's going on? Episode 11, bro. What's going on, Lasha? You do it?
What's going on, man?
Well, I don't know. I'm okay. I'm, you know, riding the wave, bro. That's all I can say. Let's see how long it lasts. I know we're gonna hit a wall. We hit a little wall a couple of weeks ago, looking stupid out there. Now we're like playing the back as well. That's a good thing, right? How about you? How you feeling?
I'm feeling all right. Baltimore had a little better week. Their six-game winning streak came to an end. They lost 2 out of 3 to LA, so that kind of sucked. But both the Mets and Orioles finished their road trip 4-2, so that's good. I guess the
Yeah,
end of the game is to win the road trips because that's the hardest place to win on the road. Granted, we had
yeah,
an easier schedule than the Mets, but we did take three swept Seattle. Seattle's a contender right now, so.
yeah. You guys are playing, a lot of good teams well. Like Detroit, for example. There's a rubber match going on tonight, today, this afternoon, maybe, right?
Yeah, we got Westbrook back. We got Mullins is back, and we got Westbrook and Kowzrak. I was thinking the Cow Man's back, but who knows? In my opinion, it's too late to win the division, and
Nah,
in the next 35 games, they're gonna have to go at least 20 wins in those 35. 20 and like 15
that's
in
not
order.
impossible. It's not
It's
impossible.
impossible, but that's like clowning Mount Everest.
Nah, but wild card seed is nah,
The wild card's your last chance.
that's the chance. That's it right there. You got it like that. You might be
But
able
who
to pull
knows?
that
We'll
off.
see.
Yeah,
But the bullpen has improved greatly, which is starting staff sucks. But what are you gonna do? You gotta work. You gotta make do with what you have and deal with it. They got a tough matchup against what's his name? Yes, Torkelson. What's the name here?
which one?
Screwball.
Schoolball,
Screwball. Excuse me.
schoolball.
They got
Tariq.
Screwball tonight.
Yeah,
So the chances are slim to none. Detroit's bullpen is good too, but if the offense can get go Baltimore, then Baltimore is one of those teams. Like I said, when they hit home runs, they win games. That's what happened yesterday, and. So anyway,
also,
it's what it is.
nah, man. Listen, if you play without looking at the standings and you go out there, you try your best. That's all you can do right now, But I feel like you guys can definitely make a wild card happen if you play like that. You said it yourself. You played Seattle, you did well. You played Detroit, you did well. So let's keep it moving. But today's episode, is there another manager heading to the early retirement? And you know what we're talking about, right?
Yeah, Brian Snitker of the Atlanta Braves.
Exactly. But guess what? They're 29 and 38 this season, 14 and a half games back in the National League East. All right. And that's courtesy of the Mets.
And 9 in the wild card.
All right. Nine in the wild card, bro. All right. It's crazy. Now, they're definitely not going to make the playoffs like this because the West is so dominant right now that chances of a wild card coming out of there, it's impossible. So now Snicker, he's been with the, let's call it the company, because they're a great team. Listen, I'm not gonna say, oh no, Atlanta's trash. They don't know how to,
A good organization. Not a good team this year, but yeah.
not a good team this year, but they're a great organization. Exactly, Lasha. And I'm not gonna sit here and lie and say I hate them because they're my division. That's a lie. But guess what? This guy's been around for 49 years, bro. He took him to a championship in 21. Okay, his record is amazing: 762 in wins and 618 losses. They don't want to embarrass him. Why would they want to do that? They have to honor the guy. He knows he doesn't have a job next year, though, but he'll be, in a special assistant role of some sort. But they're gonna treat him with respect, even though the Braves need, a new look. I must say. But I'm happy. Listen, I'm happy they're not. They're struggling. Nobody died. Nobody's getting shot at. Nobody's getting hurt. They're just struggling. So listen, and we're reaping. That's all I can say to that. I mean, then the Braves own us. You know, because now things are changing a little bit, so they're gonna have to spend a little bit of money too. So, what do you think, bro?
Yeah, well, I I don't know. I think I would look at the GM more, Alex Anthopoulos, more than Snicker, because he didn't address. He's like they're similar to the Orioles in the sense that they both knew that their pitching staff is um hurt or not that great, and they did nothing to improve it. So that's the only problem. So I don't know necessarily. Snicker's working with what he has, but there was one game, I forgot who the pitcher was, but he left him in there too long, and there's a video. I forgot to send it to you. There's a video where like his staff is like, and the players like, dude, you need to take this pitcher out, man. He's a starting. I forgot who it was. You need to take him out. Either Schwallenbach or Smith Shaver. I forgot which one it was. But anyway, one of them two, they saw like his arm. He kept on like shaking his, like and showing like he's like hurt or something. And you just see his video. He's just sitting there in the dugout, like not doing anything, and everyone's like, "Dude, what are you doing?" And then what happened that day? Breaking news: he's in the IL, and he tore his ACL. I was like, "Come on, man!" So it
See,
could have been prevented, I think.
yeah,
Maybe if you took him out an inning or two, who knows? Or just pitch or two, who knows? But so decisions like that, some decisions he hasn't made that great. But that's not the reason why they're losing. They're losing because their offense doesn't come through. Harris hasn't done much. Acuna, he started out hot, and then
he just came back.
he sizzled off. He's back to his whatever doing. Still doing well. He hit a home run yesterday in
Nice
Milwaukee,
try.
so that's good.
Let's try to
But
figure
the
it
other
out.
guys are not contributing. Riley's and the Olsons. Olson's been doing all right, but Riley hasn't really done much. Murphy's been terrible, but that Baldwin, which is good. Uh, so that's their future backstop, which is good. And then their bullpen is just god awful. There was a game the other day against Arizona their last game. They were up 10-4 in the they were up 10-4, I think, or something like that in the going into the ninth inning, and they gave up 8 runs and they lost 11-10. It was like just slack
I
jawed
remember
because I
that.
was like, how do you give up 10 runs? And then you see who the player was. I was like, of course it's Barcelo Iglesias, the closer. He's been terrible. They got him in the trade for I forgot who they traded for in that trade, but anyway, he came over in a trade from the Angels, and it was just like, oh my goodness. And they lost the game and they lost the series. If you're up 10-3 or you're 10-4 into the top of the 10th or ninth inning, you should win that
Yeah,
game
yeah,
99.9.8%.
yeah. I would say so.
But the bullpen fell apart, and in a game like that, you're gonna, it's the last home game of the series. You gotta get on the plane, so you're not gonna just go through go flying through the bullpen. You're just gonna be like, all right, well, just leave this guy in, and hopefully he gets it out. And they couldn't get it, and they blew it.
That's crazy, bro.
And so the bullpen has been that's been their weakness as well. So when your offense doesn't score and your bullpen can't hold leads, the pitching has been okay. The starting has been okay. Chris Hale has been the ace for
And
that
listen,
team.
yeah, we
He's
talk about Chris
doing
in a
great.
second because he
Yeah.
looks like he's gonna be on the move. That's
He,
that would be the plan for sellers at this moment. These guys are sellers. I think I don't know. Maybe they can turn it around for a wild card situation, but it's gonna be really hard because this is gonna be the first time since 2017,
that
right?
they're sellers.
That they're sellers and they're not in contention, which is pretty crazy. All right, that's how good this
Yeah.
ball club is.
I
It's a really
saw
good.
another trade rumor, a suggestion, which was trade Ozzy Albies for Anthony Volpe of the Yankees. That'd be interesting.
I don't know about that.
I don't
I
know
don't.
about that. Albies, you need to go back. And that Albies is a proven player.
Oh well.
Volpe's still developing. He's still young. I don't know why you would want to trade for him unless he plays second base, because I guess that makes sense. Because you have Allen now as your shortstop. It looks like now with Arcia in Colorado. But the problem is, and then Harris, man, he's disappointing me the most, man. Michael Harris, because you knew Acuna was gonna be out, and you knew it was gonna be a slow start when he comes back. But with Harris not producing, man, he started out great, and then he just like he'll be swinging that ball. He's not patient. He doesn't take his bat. He doesn't take his time with the
No,
bat. He swings out wild pitches that down. I went to a game a couple weeks ago with my friend, and it was like man on first and second in the bottom of the ninth or bottom of the eighth. Atlanta had man on first and second. They're down by two, and it was like a 3-2 count. The guy swung at it. I was like, "What are you doing, man?" The ball was like earth. I was like, "You swinging at it."
nah,
And
they
they got
cannot.
out of the inning, and they end up losing the game to Boston, who's also struggling. So it's
Yeah,
really frustrating.
yeah, it's crazy.
And
That's
and
them
it's
too.
not like I can't use that excuse of the weather's got to come or they'll get hot like like the way it is like for
The,
the
you wear
Mets.
that
It's not like
T-shirt.
that.
You like to
New
wear
York,
that
Atlanta's always
T-shirt.
warm. Atlanta's what
Yeah,
80 degrees right now.
that's
It's crazy.
perfect. That's perfect.
Yeah.
It's play.
So I don't know. I don't know if it's fundamentals. I don't know if it's just being too aggressive, wanting to just hit home runs and not playing small ball, but they are struggling offensively. But the last three games, they scored what 7 runs against, I think 7's one night and 6 runs another night against Milwaukee. But in my opinion, Milwaukee is overrated, man. I don't know why everyone, they're still alive because they're in a horrible division.
Nah, but that's not
Besides
the
the
point.
Cubs,
That's not the point because they come to play. It's not like they don't play good teams
no,
well.
they play well.
They play well. They play well. But look, the Braves they have problems. All right, the month just started. Okay, and you have to understand that they've lost 8 out of 10 games. All right, they won two. They went through a 7 game losing streak in June already, and then finally won because of who? Chris Sale. So
Yeah,
now
he's
you have to.
he's
He's been great. All right, for a team that sucks. All right, because it's just let's be honest. All right, they suck. All right, they can't. They're all right. They got by the Diamondbacks. That makes sense because the Diamondbacks are good. They play above that. You know, and then of course the Giants came. The Atlanta went to San Francisco. There was no way playing like this that we're going to beat the Giants. Are really really good.
yeah, and San Francisco is
And
good.
then you can say whatever you want about Milwaukee, but I know that Milwaukee's a tough out. And they always end up in the playoffs. So I know you say it's a division, but I feel like they're a really good team, especially with Yelich. But Chris Sale,
Yeah.
what do you do
Well,
about
the
Chris Sale?
Braves, yeah. Well, like I said, in the last 18 games, the Braves have been 4-18. That's abysmal. That's 10 under in those games. You can't you just can when you have a record like that in 18 games, you just can dig a hole. And trade deadline is next month. The All Star game is next month, and you're 10 games back. You're not gonna make it above 10 games by the All Star. You're not gonna make it to 500 by All Star because I feel like by the All Star game, you know who the real contenders are and you know who the pretenders are. You know,
Yeah, yeah,
it's
I
for the most
guess
part. For the
for
most
the
part,
most part, for the most part.
especially especially in a division where the Braves are 14 games behind the Mets and the Phillies. That's a problem. And you're behind the Nationals. You're behind the Marlins. No, the Marlins are behind us. Either way, we're behind the Nationals by a game and a half. So, and Washington's okay. They're not great, but
I saw them
you
play
should be
a couple
better.
of nights
Like,
ago.
yeah,
I saw them in
like
person. They're pretty tough, man.
they have the
Great
Nationals have a
pitching.
good rotation. They
Hmm.
just have no offense. They only have two guys and Abrams.
Yeah,
But besides that, like if you looked at if you just came to America and you looked on paper and you said out of these two teams rosters, who do you think has the better roster? And you were a baseball fan, from another country, let's just say, uh, you 99% of the time you're like, what, Atlanta? And then they showed you the record, you'd be like, what? You'd be shocked, but most people would pick Atlanta over Washington, But
yeah. But
what it
Washington's
is,
come
man.
up. They
They're a feisty team. They're gonna be good the
yes,
next. I think in a year or two they're gonna be contenders.
yeah. I give them 2 years if they do it right. Now,
If they can get some well named batters and stuff, they could be good.
yeah, But no, what do you do with Chris Sale? You can't keep him because you might as well just get rid of him and get something back for him because he's pitching well this year. He was the Cy Young Award winner last year. He's pitching like he wants to win it this year. You know, he's consistent. He's 4-4 now, but that's not his fault. That's the team's fault for not, no run production. But he struck out 11 his last outing right there, up that 7-game losing streak. 103 pitches in that outing, crazy. He walked 2, and that's the 91st time in his career that he struck out at least 10. That's a sale. Let's go. Where can we send this guy, and what are the options? People are saying top tier. You think that's a top tier situation, prospect situation?
Oh, he could, just because he's getting older. He's
Yeah,
he's on the back 9 of his career.
Yeah, he is.
So you might get a second tier guy, but if you do trade him, are you trading for a position player, or are you trading for a controllable arm? I think that's what they're gonna go with, a controllable arm, who might be a prospect, or yeah, I don't know. Teams that might be interested in him.
I heard the Cubs are super interested in that.
Cubs. I could see the Yankees. I know, with Cole being out for the year, Rendon's been their best pitcher so far, and Fried. So it'd be interesting to see have him reunited with the Yankees, Sale and Fried. But because the other guys are Clark Schmidt and somebody else, so that's the team that comes to mind. The Cubs, yes, their best pitcher is Jameson Taillon. He's pitching today. He's being consistent, but I don't know who I'd want I don't know who I could get. But if it would be a sale for picks. I don't think it would be for
it would be for
or money, or because they owe him a lot of money, so they would have to take a good portion of that money for sale. So if you could maybe put him in a trade package with the Albies, I don't know if you trade Albies. I think that would, but
yeah, I think so too. Don't do that.
If I'm Atlanta, I just say, okay, this is a lost season. If we make the wild card, great, but let's trade while the iron is hot and see if we can get somebody. Baltimore's going to do the same thing, even if they're close, they're in contention for a wild card. I think they should still sell and say, okay, we'll just retool for next year and try again next year. Especially if team is done. But the problem with Atlanta, that's not a problem, is that Atlanta, they could go on a streak at any time. That's the scary thing about Atlanta, because they did it a couple years ago. Remember when we went to that 3-game series?
Oh man!
And then woke them up, and then they ended up going to the World Series that year. So that could happen again. Who knows? That's the nice thing about baseball. There's 2 halves. Maybe the guys are struggling now, but maybe they get hot later. Who knows?
Yeah, I know what you're saying, but they're really far back. It's wild card or nothing. I don't think they can win a division at this point, even if they won every single game left. I think the season is going by really fast this year. It's kind of weird to me. It's like it's really moving at a fast clip.
No, it definitely is.
I'm laughing already because this is really funny. Because this can only happen to you. Right? This is how weird things are, right?
Yeah.
So Laj is a Baltimore Orioles fan, and he's also an Atlanta Braves, right? So he moved out there. He's a Braves fan. There's no doubt about it. He goes to those games. It's close, to where he's
fun.
at. And they're fun to watch. It's a great stadium. He said nice stadium. It's a great stadium. But, listen, this is the funny part. Last year, all we heard this man complain about was Kimbrel.
Yep. He was in Philadelphia.
Kimbrel. All right, trash. And then he played for the Orioles. He played for the Orioles. Okay, and what did Lasha do? Complain, trash. And where does he end up recently? In Atlanta, his other team. How is that even possible?
Well, it's possible because he started his career with there, and if his career is known for his time in Atlanta, then it was in Philadelphia.
I know.
But anyway, situation where they called him up and he didn't even play an inning or something, and then they sent him back down, something like that.
No. He's gone, bro. He's a Texas Ranger now, bro. He's a Texas
Yeah.
Ranger now. You guys had him for like a day, bro. He pitched for you guys for a day. Didn't do so bad, right? And they were like, nah. So he's on the move once again. He plays for the Rangers, and the Rangers are trying to, pull something off here. Let's look at the Rangers real quick before we move on.
Well, the Rangers have been very interesting.
Yes, right. They
have a
right?
good rotation, but the offense is nowhere to be found, man. Adolph Garcia is not having a great year. Jonah Heim is not doing that. He's the catcher. I don't know if who else is there. I don't know if Lowe is still there. But
Who? Check this out. So the Rangers, it's a hard division to play in, because everybody in that division is doing well, except for the Athletics, obviously, right? So Astros 37, the Mariners 33, the Angels surprisingly doing well this year, right? Noah Ohtani, Trout has been out for a while. He came back, I believe, right? Listen, the Rangers are at 32 and 36. Because that all those teams can easily have a bad week and things can shift and change.
Look at Seattle; they were on top and then they lost.
This is pretty crazy. Yeah, it's pretty crazy. Even in the Central, everybody's talking shit about how Detroit's doing well. They are. They're doing great. But if you look, Minnesota 36 games, Cleveland 35, Kansas City 34. All those teams are pretty close. I mean, Detroit, Detroit's running for it. But if they have a bad, let's say they lose 3 series in a row, things aren't going well or something. And I can see Minnesota definitely trying to do something, or Cleveland, or Kansas City. They're all, we've all seen those guys in the playoffs. They're pretty good teams, So we'll see what happens. The league is kind of weird. Even Toronto, man, now I'm looking at Toronto and I'm like, Toronto, 38 and 30, Yankees 41 and 25. Hey, that's not that bad. You don't think that can, happen? That can happen.
Toronto?
Yeah, look at it.
No. Toronto sucks.
Okay,
and not just saying that because they're in my division, because their offense always falls short. I don't know what it is. They have a good pitching system, and they have a good offensive team. I don't know why they don't perform. Guerrero's not doing that great.
No, they're performing right now. Look, they won 8 out of the last 10, right? And they have a great record, which is very similar to the Yankees record. They're at 22 and 13 at home. Yankees are 21 and 12, right? That's good stuff, man. I don't know what you're talking about, bro.
I don't know. They're because the Braves are like the Buffalo Bills of football. Every year they're labeled, they're gonna be a good team. They're gonna be contenders. They got and then they either they fall short of the playoffs or they make them and get shellacked. So until you've proven it to me, it's hard to take them seriously.
I understand.
Same can be said about Baltimore. Until they've proven that because same thing can be said about Baltimore, because the last 3 years they playoffs and what happened, they fall out. So I can't take them seriously as true contenders because of what they did in the regular season. And then a thing like that, and for Toronto, you gave all that money to Vladimir Guerrero, you gave a big contract to Santander. You need an outfielder, and he was a power bat. He's been terrible. I don't know if it's the dimensions or what it is, but he hasn't produced. Who was what's the other's name? Not Boucher. I can't think of the shortstop's name over there.
The shortstop's there.
He's got long hair. What's his name? I'm looking.
He has long hair.
Hold on, I'm looking for.
Who do you think?
Toronto. Dang.
Well, you'll figure that out. The interesting thing is that I think Sale should definitely go somewhere where he can play and contend. You know, it's not gonna happen for him this year.
Bichette, that's who it is.
Oh,
He's
Boba
Bichette.
Chat. Yes.
Yeah, he's been inconsistent. He's what 287, 8 home runs, so he hasn't been doing all that great, in my opinion. But they like I said, they won the 8 out of the 10, so that's good.
Yeah, it's great. It's great.
They got St. Louis. Oh, they just finished St. Louis, so they got Philadelphia. I guess tomorrow, today or tomorrow. I guess tomorrow. Let's see. It's gotta be tomorrow. Yeah, because because St. Louis has Milwaukee. St. Louis must be making up a makeup game. They must be playing a makeup game because um, they only play Milwaukee once and then they play Toronto. I guess. No, I don't know. Oh no, I'm wrong. So anyway, either way, so yeah, Toronto's gotten hot. They are right now four behind the Yankees, and wild card wise, they are two. They had the final wild card if the season
There you
were
go.
to end.
There you go.
So and so who knows? They maybe I don't know what they need. Maybe they need off. They need maybe I don't know what they would have to trade for, but yeah, they've been good. It helps that Baltimore has been terrible. It helps that Tampa Bay has been mediocre so far. I thought Tampa Bay would be, and then Boston. I don't know, man. I don't know what's worse. I think Baltimore's situation is worse than Boston, but
Nah,
Boston is
sometimes
bad too
they're bad
because
because
they
they
have all
have
these
all the
pitching staffs.
pieces. Yeah.
They got Bueller, they got Crochet, they got so many stars. I can't think. It just Duran hasn't. He's been okay. He's been their best probably. Devers, he has that. They have that
He's been hitting.
issue in the locker about.
Yeah, but the bat doesn't have an issue though. The bat doesn't have an issue. That's
No,
the
it's
one thing
fielding
about
is the
that guy.
issue. Yeah,
He's there. He's hitting. He's contributing. You know, he's gonna be okay. But I don't know what's happening either. It doesn't make sense. But I think they're out of it. Let's see. We'll see. Now we have the
yeah. I don't
Dodgers,
know.
right?
They end up calling one of their prospects. The Redskins. I think his name is what is it? Camp or something. I forgot his name, but anyway, he's a top tier prospect. So they called him up just to see how they're doing. Because
Yeah, I
maybe
mean,
he could be
this
trade
yeah,
bait. Who knows?
yeah. No, I mean, this is the time. If you think you're not gonna go anywhere, this is the time. Say, all right, let's bring him up super early. Let him get some experience. And this year, when we rebuild, we figure out what's wrong. We'll have another piece to work with. That makes sense. You know, that means they're waving their white flag already.
Yeah.
Now, all right. So we're gonna move on to the next story, which is gonna be really fun to talk about because I can't wait to see what happens. I really can't. This is interesting to me. This is like my second favorite thing to look at, besides the Mets. Obviously, we haven't even spoken about the Mets yet, or the Orioles and their direction. But the Dodgers. This is the first time recently that it ended yesterday. The series, the Dodgers and the Padres got together for the first time this year. And in the year, these guys have been riding each other's tails. The Dodgers have always been on the top, but San Francisco and San Diego have been there for the whole
They're
season.
the top two
For the
contenders in the West.
Yes, for the whole season, these three teams have neck and neck. Okay, which is insane. All right,
Yeah.
and we all know what we want to see. We all want to see the giant fall.
Yeah.
That's,
You want to see because right now they're the best team since they won the World Series.
since they spent all that money you're talking about. Yeah, yeah.
Now record wise, they're
Oh yeah,
not. The Mets are, but for now, yeah.
yeah, exactly. Because from June to now, the Mets have the best record in baseball. You know, but it doesn't matter from June to June. Okay, now the thing is, the Dodgers in the first game, 8-7, they win it. It went to extras. Very exciting baseball. Second, Padres are like, what? We're gonna come back. Boom, 11-1. I'm like, wow. Okay, this is a battle. Rubber match last night. They ain't go so well for the Padres. Dodgers won the series. It's okay. There's a couple of more coming. That's a divisional series. That was the first one. All right,
Yeah.
that was the first one. So it's like three more, I think. So we're gonna see. It's gonna be fun. San
Yeah, I
Francisco
think
keeps
this
winning
is
too. Go ahead.
yeah because they won yesterday, right? The
Yeah,
Dodgers,
Dodgers. Yes, yeah, they won. They won the
and then they
series.
won, and then Padres won the first game. I think 1-0 or something.
The what? No, the Padres won the first game, 11-1. The
Yeah, they
second
won the
game,
first
11 to
game. So
one. They
today's
lost.
they won the.
Yeah, the series is over. It was a 3 game. The Dodgers won the first
Oh, they
one.
lost 2 games to 1. Okay, I thought there was
Yeah.
one more game today.
No, that's
It was a 4 game series.
it. Oh,
Oh,
that was the 4 game.
yeah,
You
but
you
it's
know what?
okay.
You know what? Let's take a look. You might be right about that. You never know.
No, I think you're right. I think it's over.
Today's Wednesday, Thursday. Today's Thursday.
No, that was no. They're done.
They're
Yeah, you're
done.
right.
They're done. Okay, so that's what I want. I want one of those two teams, San Francisco or the Padres, to just take the head off the Giant. I love it.
Well,
I
now
like
they're half a game behind the Giants, or the Giants are half a
not
game
half game.
behind the
I know.
Dodgers, and they have a 7 game winning streak going into tonight's game against, or today's afternoon game against, yes, Colorado. Um, so they've been a surprisingly good team, San Francisco.
Yeah, bro.
Now, granted, they're
Listen,
playing Colorado, but it's okay. Take advantage of the bad
you
teams.
have
That's how
to.
you
You
catch
have
up.
to. This is how you catch up. Yeah, we're gonna talk about that because I was looking at something. I was like, damn, how is that even possible? Because you guys, the Orioles now. We're talking to the because we were talking about the Braves. Now we're talking about the Orioles. Well, we're gonna talk about the Orioles. But the funny shit about the game, the one game, that the Dodgers are like, forget about it. We're not gonna waste our pitching. They were getting smoked. So they had Kike Hernandez come in and he pitched like 2 and 1/3. So he came in the sixth inning, the seventh inning, or seventh. Yeah, he came in the seventh inning to pitch. That's crazy. But they figure it out. So what you want? Let's talk about your team first. Let's talk about your team first, because it really bothers me how you guys were doing something. You guys were moving in the direction. You started to hit something was going right, and you were beating up on the shitty teams, and you were also beating up on some good teams. So I was like, oh, I see something going in the right direction.
Yep, they had a
You had that
6 game win streak.
right. That was the White Sox and whoever you played, and then and Seattle, right?
Seattle White Sox,
Yeah.
and
And
what's
then
the other team?
you went to Las Vegas,
Sacramento,
Sacramento
California,
/ Oakland or whatever they got going over
Vegas,
there,
and they
right?
lost
So
2 out of 3.
exactly, that's the part that bothers me. So you can't play well against a contender like Seattle. You beat up on the White Sox like you were supposed to, but now you were supposed to run through this as well. But then it
Yep.
showed, and then you go into the Tiger series, which I was like, oh, forget about it. The Tigers are gonna swallow the Orioles. It only makes sense, right? No, no, that's not true. That's not true. Tonight is a rubber match. We're gonna see what happens. If you guys win this series, I'm gonna be proud of you guys. But you need to do that a couple of more times. You guys are 14 games back. Atlanta's 14 games back. That's 28 games
9 in
back.
the, yep, 9 in the wild card.
All right, Atlanta looks like they want to go. They want to be in the last of the Mohicans because I can see Miami, climbing and you dropping all the way down. I can see it happening.
Yeah,
So
for like I said, for Baltimore in the next 35 games, you got to go
yeah,
20-15, or even better, 25-10. They got to do something.
yeah, that's
Now
serious.
I see some. I took positive from yesterday's game because they pitched a really good game. Casey Mize is another good starter, and going into the 7th inning, it was 2-1 Baltimore, and the starter went really well, which was surprising, and the offense just got hot, and they just took off, and they won 10-1. The guys that just came back, Kowser, he's been producing like crazy. Westberg hit a home run. So maybe just an issue of maybe the core players that they're starting to become core players is the reason why. Mullins just came back. He's gonna be traded at the end of the year, at the season's mid-season point probably. So if those guys get hot, I still would sell. I would not be like, oh, we're hot now. Let's just make a run for it because you got to trade the guys you're not going to resign. Trade away O'Hearn. I love O'Hearn. He's been the best player there, production wise. He's been lights out. And Mullins. Those are the two main guys. Henderson has been disappointment. Rutschman has been god awful. I don't know what's wrong with him. Uh, I saw an article recently like, could Rutschman be traded within the next 2 years?
No way.
Because they well here's my reason because they have a stud catch-up catcher name of Sam Basalo. Right now he's their number one prospect in the minors, and he's a catcher and he's been killing it down there. He has like 13 home runs and like 40 RBIs. He's been killing it. So they have a backup plan. I don't know why he just his bat has been silent. He's been good behind the plate. Uh, Not great enough because the pitching has been terrible. So
Yeah, but you can't just
that
do that though. You can't. I don't want you to say, "Oh man, this guy had a horrible year, so let's get rid of him."
give
But then
up. No,
you
that
just give up on
yeah,
him. You can't because you know it's a good piece, and you know it's a good piece. All right, so
he's a core.
you know you have to make sure. Yeah, exactly. He's the core, right? So that's what I'm talking about. You can't just do that. You know, it's like I don't know, but that's it. The season is going fast. I just keep saying. I said that a
I
couple of
know.
times. It's going so fast that it's good. It's good for you. It's actually good for me because I want it to be. If we're gonna make it happen, let's make it happen. If we're gonna win this, we're gonna hit a wall. I'm cool with one. Listen, if we hit a wall again, and we're just gonna end up getting better.
Yeah.
So that's it. That's how I see it. Cause I'm having fun watching my team play now. You know, the other night I went to the Washington game, the first game of the season, and you know we were down the whole way until like the eighth inning or something like that.
Hmm.
Whatever. We came back, we tied it with Alonso because you know Alonso's just been so insane. I can't even explain his numbers right now. Like he's such a different type of ball player. I want to wear his jersey. That's crazy. You know, that's what I'm talking about. Like he's doing that. You know, batting
Yeah.
302, 17 home runs, 63 RBIs. I think he leads the league in that, by the way. So I'm just saying, this last 7 games, bro, 7 runs, 10 hits, 2 doubles, 3 home runs, 10 RBIs, 3 walks, 5 strikeouts. All right. That's in the last 7 days. In the last week, he struck out 5 times. He would have last year. He would have struck out 5,000 times. Understand what I'm
Oh,
talking about?
Lindor,
No, Alonso, bro.
Alonso. Yeah, yeah. He's been. I don't know he's been their savior because at least for the first month of the season because when the other guys were not producing, he's definitely stepped up and
He hasn't stopped
he's starting to
hitting.
rub off on the other guys, which is good.
Yeah, this guy hasn't stopped hitting, bro, since the season started. He hasn't. It's
No.
just insane. You know, we brought up Ronnie Mauricio. You know, I was so excited, and
Yeah,
the,
I'm glad to see him back.
you know, I'm glad that he's back after that injury. You know, because we got a taste, and then he got hurt, and then we never got to see him again until just recently. He came up because Vientos is hurt, so we had a slot for him. Now
Yeah.
he's been around for a week now. He's played in 5 games. No, I'm sorry, he's played in 7 games, right, in June. But he got his first home run the other day against the Rockies. He's doing okay. It's hard for him. And he's not so electric like when he first got up here. I guess it's a little different now. But you know, a lot of the team is weird right now because you know we're moving pieces around in the field and nobody's really getting consistent time except for the super veterans like Alonso's playing first every day no matter what happens. Lindor's playing shortstop no matter what happens. We always have a second and third problem, like where we keep swapping and trying to figure out who goes. And then we have the catcher situation is funny too because Torrens is hitting better than Alvarez, but Alvarez is the number one. But he's on paternity leave now, so Torrens is gonna get more at bats, which is great.
Yeah.
You know, Soto's gonna obviously be playing right field every day, no matter what happens, right? And then the
Yeah.
Tyrone situation, he's not hitting, but his defense is crazy. Defensively, he's amazing. So my dad says it every day. He's like, "Yo, he's great out there, and that's a lot out there. That's a lot." I'm like, "Okay, I dig
Yeah,
it."
center field is the hardest position to cover because you have to cover more than the left fielder and the right field, in my opinion.
No, it's true. It's hard. It's hard, but he plays
So,
that position really well.
but if you can upgrade that position and get someone who can bat and play defense like a Mullins, that'd be a situation for you guys. And that's what the Mets are going to definitely do. Or you could go after maybe a Luis Roberts Jr. of the White Sox. But I think Mullins is the best piece you can get without having to give up a lot. I think you'd have to give up more from Roberts. He's younger than Mullins, I think.
Nah, I don't like Robert's
And
numbers. I don't like his numbers. I don't like
and
his numbers.
I don't know if he's a free agent or not, or if you have controllability. But if it's a one-hit wonder, if you don't mind the 6-month rental, wherever it is, Mullins, then you can trade for him and then try to address that center field position in the off season. Or you can, if he does great, then maybe you could just give him a 2-year deal and be like, all right, here you go, Mullins. You are new center fielder for the next 2 years, and then
He's not going to take that.
he's not going to take that. He's going to minimum 5-year deal. Minimum.
Exactly. He's not going to take 2 years.
Because he's 31 years old. That's what he'll make him to 36. But probably be washed. But if you get 2 or 3 years out of that, I mean, if you get 2 or 3, who knows? I could be wrong. But either way, if you could get him, and that center field porch is a lot shorter than I think Camden Yards, so he could really rack home runs.
Yeah.
And not only that, he'd add another speed. He would add speed to the base pass with Lindor, Acuna, Mauricio, and who's the other pretty good about stealing on the Mets?
Everybody's stealing it for them now.
No,
we have
Alonso
Tyrone.
can't steal bases. Come on,
no, not he's the only one probably. Look, we got Steelers. We have Mauricio. We have Acuna. We have Nemo. We have Lindor. We have who else we got back there?
You know
can't steal. But we have a lot of guys that can actually steal now, bro. We have stop playing with me, man. It's a new look, man. So anyway, let me tell you guys how much of an asshole Lasher is. I said,
that's right.
Then he's like, man, let me tell you, man, I'm gonna pick the Grom as the pitcher of the week because I know what's gonna make you upset.
I want to rub it. That's
Mets.
exactly right away. Just stick it to an asshole.
And you know what I said to him? I said,
just to make you feel
nobody
it's
cares
like an old
about
scab,
the Grom. Listen, nobody cares about the Grom. He's like an old girlfriend that you don't even think about anymore. You know what I'm saying? Like she was all right. She was okay.
She was good while you were with her. But now that you're you don't give a flying potatoes.
Exactly. Not because of that. It's because he wasn't a good fit for our team anymore. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
You can't spend that money on somebody that's going to sit and watch. We need him to play. You know what I'm saying? We watch. You play.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? We don't want you watching the game with us, bro. So,
yeah.
And then
what do you
picked him. So, let me tell you why you picked him. Because you think he had a solid outing. You know what I'm saying? He won the game, 7 innings, 2 hits, none earned, and 8 strikeouts. I think that wasn't that's not a throwback. We call that the throwback. That's when he used to go out there for us and do that. When he was available, because he wasn't available every week. So whatever. That was against Washington, 5-0. That's funny because we just beat them last night, 5-0. Right? We beat Washington 5-0. Which is crazy because, Peterson, which I've always loved Peterson. I always tell him about that. I like that guy. That guy's good. He's going to be somebody. And look, he's doing his thing. It was a complete game. You know what I'm saying? He strikes out 6, gives up 6 hits.
Yeah.
And you got to give Nemo got 2 home runs last night. Soto got a 2nd home run in a row. He got a game. The day before, he had a home run. Had a home run yesterday. He's warming up. He's getting better, He's doing his thing.
Yeah.
Let's see what happens with him. But whatever. I'm worried about Alonso. I hope he can keep us afloat. I hope he can do what he's doing. Because if he does, we won't have a problem.
Well, also, if Soto's if this is the beginning of Soto's hotness, then you're really
hotness.
You know what I mean?
Sounds like a sandwich. Well,
yeah, and then like Lindor, if he continues to stay hot, those 3 guys, those 3 core guys stay hot or get hot, You'll win that division in a landslide, and you could possibly have home field advantage throughout the playoffs, and that's
Uh,
important. You
I
know.
feel you. Listen, I was just watching highlights and it's crazy because it's about the same type of shit. It's because it's the division. The Phillies. The Phillies just finished. Smacking up on the Chicago Cubs, and that's
Yeah.
interesting because like the Phillies are there. I'll never forget about the Phillies. The Phillies are always, next year, whatever. If they don't make it this year, then next year I'll be like, whatever, unless they make some really big changes.
Yeah.
My biggest fear is that they'll grab Alonso for for like they'll throw just some crazy money at Alonso and he'll say, I can't refuse that. Move over to the Phillies because that Bryce Harper will, of course, welcome him with open arms and let him have first base. So
Uh, well, that's fine because if you could just get Schwarber if he's a free agent or whatever. Like, all right,
yeah,
well,
but how about if
get
the
him
Phillies
up.
get both? How about if the Phillies get both?
Well, you can't have
Alonso
both,
and
man. What is
Schwarber.
this?
What do you mean? How about if we
What is
get
this?
both? How
Burger
about if we
King?
get Schwarber and Alonso? You know what I'm saying? It could go either way, but we both in need and we're both gonna be fighting for the same things in the off season. Because Alonso's definitely going back to the pool and Schwarber will be there as well, sipping on whatever the fuck they drink, waiting for the calls from both teams. So and yeah, we're gonna leave it at that because that's what's gonna happen. I can't wait for us to win the World Series and discuss that at a later date. But we have Soderstrom. This is a transformer. What is this guy? This guy plays for the Las Vegas Sacramento Athletics.
Soderstrom. He plays for the Oakland Athletic, whatever, Las Vegas Athletics. He's probably one of the best. He's one of their core players. Uh, he's probably going to be one of their core players, and he's having a good year. But
He's
he's
having
the
a good
hitter of the
year.
week.
Hit of the week
Hitter of the week.
against
But
the
he's the hitter of
Twins.
the week. He went 2 for 5 against the Twins in the 14-3 drumming of the Twins.
Drumming.
Yeah, no, it's a drumming. He had 2 home runs, 6 RBIs, and 2 runs. So he had a lights out performance. The A's are a tricky team, man. Baltimore just found out they're sneaky. They're gonna fight you tooth and nail. They're not gonna make the playoffs, but they're gonna make sure if you're in contention for the playoffs, they're gonna make sure you don't make the playoffs. They can they
Uh,
can they can break your heart if you're not paying attention.
I don't know who's not making the playoffs. But anyway,
Baltimore, but
yeah,
that's
that's right.
okay. Or the Braves, but it's
That's not
okay.
okay. Those guys ain't making
Hey,
it either. But it's
not
okay.
every year. Hey, listen,
Every year, it's mandatory. It's
listen.
mandatory.
Just
Listen, we're gonna start something. You gotta
not
finish.
every day. It's 85 and sunny every day. You know, some days you get rainy days, some days you get cold days. It's just the way it is. What are you gonna do?
I don't know what you're gonna do. I know what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna celebrate. Now we got a trivia question for you.
Celebrate good times. Come on.
But now, who are the 4 Mets who hit 40 or more home runs in a season?
Okay, so I have one in mind, actually in mind, but I'm just
I
gonna,
like
how I
that.
like to think it out before I.
Yeah.
So the one guy that comes to mind because uh, he was great watching him growing up in the 2000s, early 2000s. That'd be Mike Piazza. Would be my one guy.
Wow. You got
And
that
then
one.
the other guy I was thinking about, but I don't think so because he wasn't really a home run guy. He's just offensive. He just produced offensively, but not home runs. I was thinking David Wright, but that doesn't sound right.
Nah.
He was more of like a line drive hitter,
Yeah.
gap to
Like a
gap guy,
Jeter-ish.
Jeter-ish, gap to gap. He came up in big moments when he had to in 2006. But the one guy I was thinking of, he had a great impact on the Mets. Was in the 2006 playoff run. Would be Beltran. That's who I was thinking of.
Ooh.
He was a power bat.
That's number two. That's number two.
So Piazza and Beltran,
Yeah, you got 2 more.
and then oh geez, 2 more. Let me see. 2 more. All right, what? Give me a year. Help me out because I don't know.
Okay. Oh yeah, I can give him plenty. So this guy, he was a catcher, right, in the 90s, right, late 90s.
So it wasn't Carter.
It was
He was already gone.
right before Piazza.
Right before Piazza,
Yeah.
and it wasn't Gary Carter, but it was
It
after
wasn't.
Carter.
Yes, definitely after Carter.
I've never
96.
heard of this guy's name.
All right.
Hundley?
Yeah. Hundley.
Todd Hundley? Did he play for the Rockies? Who the heck is he?
I'm done with you,
See,
man.
see,
I'm done with you, bro. I'm done
back
with you.
then that was considered a lot because that was before the steroid era, you know.
Yeah, I mean, listen, 40 home runs is a lot. All right, I don't care who
Yeah.
says that they're
For a
lying.
catcher,
For anybody, listen, you got two catches this. All right, they were both big guys. You know, listen, the other guy is of course Peter Alonso. You know, he did it in
how'd I forget Alonso?
2019. Exactly. You know, I have to give you that one because I'm like, what's wrong with him? That should have been the first name out of your mouth. You know, but it's okay though. You're a hater. I understand. You know,
That's right.
We're coming to the end of the show. You know, Lasha, you know, you're funny, man. You kill me.
Hey, could I say one more thing?
Of course, man.
I think we talked about this, but one of the best surprises for the Mets it has been Clay Holmes. He because they converted him from a closer to a starter, and he's been one of their best pitchers. And I always, they always say, how's that going to work for a guy who's goes from pitching an inning and a half on average to now pitching at least 6 innings a game, 5.5 games. How would he adapt? Would he blow his arm out? Could he handle the workload? And he's been lights out, man. What, he's like 7-3? You said?
No, hopefully he's our first 10-game winner. Hopefully he's an all-star.
Yeah. What's your thoughts about him?
I think that shit is crazy. I think they're just pulling off crazy shit, and it's all working. And I think we won't have pitching problems for years to come. And our rotation is going to change over that time, multiple times over. And you're never going to know what we're coming with. It's going to be crazy. I can't wait to see who else they transform. All right, you understand that the Braves had Griffin Canning, right? Was it the Braves or the Angels? The Angels had him, then the Braves, I think, had him. And they were like, nah, this guy's not going to work us. And the Mets picked up on it. And it's like, nah, this guy's going to be amazing. We're going to figure him out. We're going to fix him. It's crazy. I don't know. Impressed. And I'm glad we won't ever have pitching problems. It's not about getting the big names. It's about getting the point across. And they've been doing it. We didn't go after none of that, eye candy.
Yeah.
We didn't go after any of it, and it bothered me for a while. And then I said, you know what? I think they know what they're doing. But it took me a while to realize that because it really, really bothered me. Like, why are we not going after Corbin Burns? Why are we not going to this guy? We have the money. We need pitching. Why not? And this is why. Because we don't need it. But, Lasha, you're a very, very funny dude. You keep me, I love you, but it's trash. And you're gonna have to jump on our bandwagon. I'm gonna buy you a hat soon.
I'm not gonna. If you give me a hat, I'm gonna burn it.
No, you're not.
I'm gonna have a bonfire. I'm gonna burn it and wear mask with it.
No, you're not. You know what? There's a lot of burning and ass. So, like, I don't know if you're gonna actually burn your ass in that process, but you.
No, I'm gonna wipe my ass and then burn the jersey.
Okay, that's even worse. It's gonna smell like shit.
That's all right. It'll be outside.
Okay, I got you. But listen, you're gonna have to wear my hat. You love the Mets. Stop acting like that. You actually have 3 teams, bro. You do. Stop acting like that. You know more about the Mets than I do. Come on, man. How's that possible? I'm the Mets fan. Get out of here, bro. Listen, you're a Mets fan. I'm gonna get you a hat. You let me know when you want it. I'm not gonna. You can keep wearing your Baltimore hat.
You could put it on my coffin when I'm dead, okay?
No, I'm gonna do that. We're gonna be wearing that hat way before that. I promise you that. But everybody, I hope you enjoyed it. You have a good night and enjoy those games tonight.
See ya, bro.
Peace, brother.